Our next guest was a teacher for 17 years. The entire time he had a huge secret. He didn't know how to read. John Corcoran is now a literacy advocate who founded the John Corcoran Foundation. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning.
I think people will hear this and they'll think, teacher, 17 years, could never read a word when you were standing in front of the classroom. How the heck did that happen?
Well, I could read a few words in terms of guessing at them, but I could not read, write, or spell my native language. And I think my story is embarrassing personally and certainly shame-based, but it gives me an opportunity. I think the teacher who couldn't read is the headline. The story is America has a literacy epidemic. And we've been passing people through our schools for socially promoting them for about 60 years. About 25% of the population learns to read like birds learn to fly, and they just walk by the library and they get it, and they're blessed, and they underestimate the power and the gift that they have. And on the other end of the spectrum, where John Corcoran was, we struggle with processing language and learning to read. Right. We are not dumb.
But no, and John, I know that's your point, that people who cannot read, don't equate that with being stupid. You're here to prove that. But I want to know, how could you get away with this, for lack of better terminology, for all these years?
Well, as a child, I went to school like most children with high hopes to learn how to read, write, and spell. Most children learn to read by the time they're in the 3rd grade and then spend the rest of their academic career reading to learn. Right. When I got into middle school, I couldn't read, I couldn't compete, and there is no equal opportunity for a child in school that can't read. So I misbehaved. I disrupted my own education. I gave up on the system. The system gave up on me. I had fights in school. Right. I was a truant. I was
so that's you detracted the attention away from not being able to read. But here's the question that I'm thinking about all last night when I'm reading up on your story. And I'm thinking, at what point do you decide to take personal responsibility to go to somebody and say, guess what? I can't read.
I think that's a question that's a fair question, but I want to tell you that I took that responsibility when I was 6 years old. I had high hopes to learn to read, and I always wanted to learn to read. People that can't read, and in America today, they can't compete. Right. They can't succeed. We don't beat the system. We just go underground because we think we bought into the big lie, and the big lie is something wrong with our brain, and we can't learn to read.
Thank you so much for bringing it to the forefront, John. You are now a literacy advocate, and this is your brave day. Thank you so much for speaking out about this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
A real rags to riches story that proves the American